Hey YouTube, Wheelchair21, and this is a rolling review for SH Figuarts Robo Rider from Kamen Rider Black RX. Robo Rider is his secondary form. Yeah, a Showa Rider which got a power-up. Yes indeedy. And many thought that this form would be exclusive along with the future release of, well, Bio Rider. Ironically, both were made retail releases, both are amazing figures. And first off, let's just go down into Robo Rider's box. Robo Rider's box uses a nice brown tint of an earth-like design for it. As you can see, it really showcases the well-fitted details for the suit in a sense. It just really shows every etching of the character and on the figure itself on the cover here. Really nice. It just does a nice shadow line, I should say. The box itself is pretty bland on the back. It's just two basic poses because, weirdly enough, when we get down to the contents of it, there's not much, as you can see already. Just 3 additional hands and the Voltec Shooter. And there you have Figuarts Robo Rider. The cool thing about Robo Rider is he's a nice black and yellow themed rider, and honestly, he has a lot of cybernetic etchings into his thigh panels and his waistband here. Now, as a kid watching Saban's Mask Rider, this was actually one of my favorite forms. It just really stood out compared to the regular green and black version of RX, or just the basic blue and red for Bio Rider. Honestly, it just looks amazing, it looks cool, and I think it's also because at the time I was a huge fan of the RoboCop cartoon. So the way that, well, Robo Rider moved was very similar to the aesthetics of RoboCop himself. The way he moved his body, just the way he contorted, the way he just literally moved and acted like a true machine. And because of how he acted like a true machine, Tamashii really molded his actual pelvis so dead onto the suit, he barely can take an accurate step, a full-length, step as a normal person. Which was kind of the whole thing about Robo Rider. He didn't move fast, he didn't really need to be agile or athletic, but at times it did show he did have those features in him. He normally was very static, standalone kind of character, kind of like an last outlaw kind of idea. Like, he was just that badass that he didn't really need to move to beat down an opponent. His shoulder panels actually are built on the ball joint and really work well. These are like the outstanding features to the figure, is that his pelvis, yeah, it makes it hard for him to actually sit on Acro Battler or his actual road sector. His shoulders are really good at how they can twist and contort on the actual joint itself, allowing him to get full free range and motion. And practically those are the only differences it has to the basic body of a normal Figuart, whether it be Kamen Rider, Sentai, or even in the Ultrac lines, which usually have a very similar mold. Honestly, some other cool features are really the details put into his abdomen and the belt. Really, they got in there nice and etched in all the fine details the suit has to offer, and practically nothing was missed whatsoever. Everything in the character is there. Now, since he was practically a RoboCop ripoff, which RoboCop was inspired by Space Sheriff Gavon, he comes with a basic pistol. The pistol we are talking about is the Voltec Shooter, which is a really nice metallic silver paint and plastic with black etching all over it. It has nice streamlines of black encasing certain areas of the gun itself. It's really cool, it's really neat, and it looks practically like a realistic rifle, pistol, because this thing is just a really overpowered submachine gun at the same time as it is a regular single fire action gun. It's really great, it's awesome. And ironically enough, I do own the deluxe version of this toy, which is a rare thing to come by. And finally, there you have Robo Rider with his Voltec Shooter. And with that, we will head into evaluation time. Yes, it is evaluation time yet again. What are the good things about this figure? Well, first off, it really represents the character well. If you're a fan of Kamen Rider Black and Black RX, or even Saban's Masked Rider, you'll most likely want to get this figure. It's just something out of a lot of people's childhoods. Whether you are a true Japanese born, fan watching it as Black RX when it showed up back in the late 80s, or you were a 90s kid watching it, on Fox Kids growing up, you will really enjoy it. Even new people coming into the fandom enjoy Black RX and enjoy Robo Rider himself. He's just one of those perfect fusions, actually, between a rider and a metal hero, just because of the throwback to Gavon, and actually kind of the nod to RoboCop, which was also a throwback to Gavon. It's one hell of a figure. You can find it on a lot of your online retailers, and you can find it whether it be international sellers or in the States, because Bluefin Tamashii is actually distributing this figure. Now, the cons towards the figure are limited accessories, which you kind of can't help that with the figure because of who he is and what he really came with in the show. I mean, I would have enjoyed to have a few more additional hands, but, all he did was usually just punch people to death and shoot them in the face. He's kind of like a Captain America kind of guy, just punches, shoots people in the face. Even though, Cap usually throws a shield here and there, but, there's been incarnations where, he shoots, asks questions later. Anyways, I digress. It's just one hell of a figure, but a lot of people who aren't aware do knock the whole pelvic region because it's just difficult to get him on a bike. What do Kamen Riders do? Ride bikes. So, if you're looking at him for accessories, that's not going to happen. If you're looking at him to, actually sit down on a bike, it's going to be hard. So, just, take your time. Other than that, I mean, there's nothing more is to enjoy him alongside his brethren. RX, Black, Bio Rider. All great, forms to an amazing figure. Or not figure, I should say character within the legacy of Kamen Rider. Anyways, this has been another rolling review. You can find it here on YouTube or here at otaku.com. You can follow me on Twitter and check me out on Instagram. Pretty much you should know how to find me, where to find me, and what you should be checking out by now. So we'll see you next time, YouTube.